And this whole journey that is trading and trying to get to full-time trading, have you learned a lot about yourself personally?
Oh yeah, I've definitely learned a lot about myself, man, because trading is a very, very lonely game. But I think if you don't take the time to try and learn about yourself, it's very easy to go without it. But I think you definitely need to learn about yourself in order to develop yourself as a trader. And I think the majority of traders don't do that because it's a very painful thing. But you just have to bear through it.
If you can say one thing you've learned about yourself that's really taken you, because Eric, I remember our first Zoom meeting and we came into the group. You've come a long way. What's one thing that you've learned about yourself that has helped you in your trading journey?
I've learned that I'm not as patient of a person as I initially thought, and that's okay. Um, I just learned to adapt to different things in my life to better suit myself in that aspect.
Yeah. And what would you say makes you not as patient? Is it the grind to get to full-time trading or the money or both? Or something
I
totally left different?
I don't know. No, it's definitely not the money. I definitely do am very eager for becoming a full time trader. Even though I do like my career, but I think it's just I've always had a thing for instant gratification, right? I feel like especially
Yeah,
my generation with the introduction of technology, it's just something that's ingrained in us. So I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You just have to find ways to go through life in the way that best suits you.
100%. Frank, what about you? Is there one or two or multiple things that you've learned about yourself uh, that's helped you as a trader and even personally?
Uh, yeah, just like Eric, it's most of the patience. I'm finding out myself I don't really have the patience of not being away from the charts too long. Continued with that, like I said, I work like 12, 13 hours, so I am away from the charts for that long. So it's kind of like finding new ways to to compensate for me being away from the charts. So it's putting a plan together, knowing what the plan looks like and following that plan and making sure I know myself that I need to check myself and not going back to the charts back and forth, and moving away from the plan that I've put in place for myself.
Definitely, you are your own worst enemy. In the journey, right? It's not linear. It's twists, turns, curves, and man, things happen in your personal life. And I tell you, man, my personal life has been like an uproar the last ever since the start of the year, man. My personal life has been like going crazy with like family stuff and geez Louise. Eric, I know you've had you've had your struggles too. During your personal struggles that we won't mention, how were you able or even were you able to keep focused on trading?
No, man, I wasn't. I'd say honestly, from the end of 2021 until maybe mid 2022, I rarely ever took a look at a chart. And that's not something I've ever even told you guys, in the group, even
Yeah.
though I stayed kind of active in the group. I didn't even look at charts. But I think it was a good period of time actually, because when I
Yeah.
came back, I had a completely different perspective.
So, and Frank, what about you, man? You are unique in a sense of you come from another country, you're grinding your way through the to where you're trying to get, man. Have you gone through anything that has either enhanced or taken away from your focus on the charts?
Oh yeah, absolutely. For me, I'm basically in the workforce. I gotta get up every day. I gotta go to work, and it's usually 12-hour, 13-hour shifts. So it's hard coming home after a long day of work. Trying to look at the charts, trying to take new information in, that you're teaching, and actually applying, to my trading. So that was always one of the worst things I could have gone through. I'm still going through it a little bit, but I'm learning about myself so that I can apply it to how I want to trade. Just like I was talking with Eric earlier, for me, I'm trying to focus more of like an end of day, more of going from monthly or to yearly kind of stuff, kind of trade. So I'm not going to be trading as much as a day trader would.
Nice. Yeah, it just doesn't seem like it fits your lifestyle, and that's fine. What's been for you, Eric? What's been the toughest part? Is it no, let's backtrack. Have you bought a course from a scammer?
I am at the beginning of my journey. I purchased signals, so I would say so.
Okay. What about you, Frank? Have you fell victim to the Miami Beach lifestyle that's on Instagram?
Not necessarily the beach lifestyle. It's more as wrong information.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of the people, they just repackage stuff that they see on YouTube and on all the crap trading courses, right? And who really who really wants to sit down and actually do the research and then tweak the research and apply the actual research? Eric, you know my trading style. Would you say that you trade exactly like me, similar to me, or different from me?
I used to try to really emulate the way that you traded. But I feel like now, since I'd say the end of 2022, I've kind of dived into my own independent view of the market, obviously using a lot of the viewpoints and concepts that you've given us, the overall context. But my trading definitely, you know, definitely changed for the better once I started to just go down my own path
For real.
and collect my own data, you know.
Dope. And was that a function of that alone time, that break from the charts, or was it something recent?
Yeah, it sort of was. When I came back to the charts, I just said, you know, I don't think I've been honest with myself. And once I started to become honest with myself and say, what do I see? How can I trade the markets in a way that, you know, best coordinated with my psyche? That's when I started to, you know, collect data and say, okay, I see this all the time. Let me see if I could build a system out of this. And that's when I just kept going and tweaking and just implementing new stuff based off just objectivity, you know, no subjectivity.
It's crazy because you're trading freaking the S&P, man. You gotta have balls for that. I'm not there. I'm not there. If the trade isn't obvious as all outdoors, no, not taking it. Frank, for you, would you say you trade exactly like me, similar to me, totally different? Now, you also have the one thing we had in common prior to the group is Mr. Chris Laurie. Would you say you trade similar to him as well? What's your take?
Yeah. So for me, I think I trade a lot differently from you and most other traders. For me, I think the biggest thing that I noticed about my trading was when I was back testing and I stopped using that rewind function on it. So that changed a lot for me and slowing down when I'm back testing. So it opened up my eyes to a lot of other possibilities and opportunities that I was seeing in the market when I slowed things down 100%. Um, my trading style per se, it's still developing, but I think one of the biggest issues I have right now, which is not really an issue, but I'm seeing maybe too much in the market.
Oh yeah, I mean, you guys both know me. Like, I know so much, and you know the Google Drive has so much stuff. I probably only use maybe 5% of it. I only use what I'm deeply connected with. Yeah, I totally get it, man. Information overload is real. Oh yeah, Eric, what would you say has been your greatest success as far as trading goes? Like, what gave you the aha moment?
Oh, I'd have to say honestly, man, just objectively collecting data in the backtester and not using like Frank said, like not using the rewind tool, going back, oh, you know what, I would have exited here, I would have done that, I would have done this. Just coming up with a defined set of rules and legitimately seeing how often does this occur and what is the probability and does it show a positive expectancy, and if it does, I'll implement it, or at least find a way to try and implement it.
Do you use data like that in your career?
Yeah, not my current direct career right now, but in the on the military side, I feel like, yeah, it's just always reading and collecting information to try to make your own assessment out of it.
Gotcha. Frank, what about you? I think we all have like little aha moments. Your big aha moment is usually just a collection of little then aha. Frank, have you had an aha moment that exposed you to be like, oh, you know what? This is actually my path.
Multiple times, and it can be, for me personally, I think it is a good thing, and it can be a bad thing, because your aha moments can be, sometimes it's temporarily, and you use that aha moment and you overuse it to go on the wrong path. So it might be an aha moment where you say that, oh, okay, this is work, but you have to put the work in on that aha moment and use it toward, actually building a strategy. And it's one thing, because I've had that in my actual job that I work. There are stuff that I have to look at seasonally in my job, and we use different techniques in my job role.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same. We use the same techniques over and over in the same seasons, but it changed slightly every year.
Got you. Eric, let me ask you this. We all got into trading, obviously, for financial gain. For you, at any point in time, was your emotional connection to money and making money holding you back?
Yeah, I definitely say so. Your judgment becomes clouded by money, right? And that's not what trading's about. It's not about money, at least from the perspective of actual execution, right?
Yeah.
So it's just yeah, just focusing on the money, trying to trade a small account to a large sum of money. It's silly, because you're only focused on that. You're not focused on what you need to really be doing.
Sure. No, agree. Frank, what about you? Has your emotional connection to money help or hurt you during your process?
Hurt mostly.
Oh, shit.
But it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
Especially when you're back testing and you had that the amount that you're making, the amount that you're losing, and you just focus on the strategy. It changes a lot when you take the money out of the equation and you're just focusing on the actual strategy.
Yeah, for sure. I know for me, you guys have probably heard the episode. This was an older episode on Cam when it was 52 traders, where I told the story that I was literally yelling at a $20 bill because I was so emotionally connected to money.